Rejuvenate, brought to you by the Positivity Project. I'm delighted to be here. My name is Advaita Kala. I am a writer, screenwriter, and during the pandemic, I found out that I'm a streamer and a host as well. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Mariela Cruz, Ashtanga yoga teacher. Mariela Cruz is an Ashtanga yoga practitioner and teacher, a lawyer with 3 masters. She has been ambassador of Costa Rica to India between 2016 to 18, 2016 to 18, I'm sorry. Despite work and family commitments, she is committed to the study and practice of Ashtanga yoga, which she has come to understand as a way of life. She has been a student of Sharatji Joyce since 2003 in Mysore, where she started her journey of yoga. Mariela believes that our lives can be completely transformed because practice can completely change the way we think and act. Her favorite quote is, "Practice and all is coming." Mariela shares her knowledge and personal experience through classes and special workshops, which are intense and transformational. Thank you, Mariela, for joining us this evening, early evening. It's a delight to have you on the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation to the Positivity Project. Thank you all for your efforts to bring us together.
The other thing I left out of your introduction is that you're a grandmother as well, although no one will believe unless you don't confirm that yourself.
Yeah, I've been very blessed, because I have a big family, and even though my family is in Costa Rica, my country of origin, my Guruji, the phrase is his, it's not mine. Practice and all is coming. So, yeah, as part of the 7 series, we call it the yoga of the householder, and embracing everything that happens in the everyday world. I think that's the most advanced yoga.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm fascinated by your journey, from Costa Rica. I read somewhere that it was your mother who got you into the practice of yoga. So can you tell us a little bit about that early childhood experience?
Yeah, it was very amazing that my mother was interested in yoga in a very Catholic, conservative country as Costa Rica. And that she found a teacher and that she would bring me to her yoga classes when I was a child. So I think, we all have a dharma and a karma, and there's like openings that happen, and it's very miraculous how the journey unfolds once you know where to place your attention. As you mentioned, I am a lawyer, and I have 3 masters in law, and I do believe that was my ticket to India, because that allowed me to become the ambassador of Costa Rica, the academic, how can I say, preparation. But my dharma is really in the teaching and the practice of yoga. I'm a student, permanent student, and I'm very blessed to have my guru in Mysore. I've been so blessed, for the past 20 years. Yeah.
So you started the practice of yoga when you were a child. Did it start becoming more of like a passion for you and something that you became more and more invested in? When was that switch? When did that switch happen?
Well, when I came first time to India was in 2001. So, it was very intense for me to come to India because I was used to going to the United States. That was my travels, and maybe to Europe, but I never really considered India. But there was like a pull that I felt. Something was pulling me here. And then I met a yoga teacher from the US who told me about my gurus in Mysore. Because remember, in those times, there was no internet. So right. It was like by word of mouth that I found out about my gurus. And just being there in that school was such a huge transformation for me. Because I come from a very tiny country. Costa Rica is only 5 million people. Imagine compared to India. So coming here was, when I first came, I remember that the plane opened the gate and I smelled India and I said, this is my home. And since then I was only going back and coming back you know, that was my, it was such an inspiration to be here, to feel the earth, to listen to my gurus. My Guru Charat is turning 50 next week, so we are all very happy in the community, and he has devoted his whole life to this practice, and it's because of his own dharma that many of us have been touched around the world. This is a very big network around the world, and there are many teachers, and we are all very blessed.
Mhm. And what drew you to your guru in particular? What was it about him? They say that, you know, it's a very special relationship between
Mhm.
Shia, and it's something that cannot be explained in many ways also.
Totally right. Yeah, it's something that comes from your heart. It's a connection, and also the Ashtanga practice is very intense, and I love the intensity. I love the intensity of being in that room, and his help and his guidance, and also the community, because the community, as I told you, is a worldwide community. And I was the only authorized teacher in Central America for many years, but many of my students started coming to India as well, and it's a whole movement, and especially now during this pandemic. And I think yoga is medicine for the mind, it's medicine for the heart, and of course for the body, because we need to keep these bodies flexible and strong, so the immune system is strong, of course, but especially for the mind. I think there's a big crisis, a big mental health crisis going on, you know, because we had to stay home for so many months. And some of us were completely stranded from everyone, you know, except my husband. It was just the two of us. And it's intense no matter what. So we are all, I think, recovering, and yoga is a great, and that's India's gift to the world, actually. India has given so much to the world. There's so much interest right now in the West for something else than, you know, buying things and shopping, and like I think we're all realizing in the West that's nothing. That at the end, you know, what really matters is what we have found inside, and the guidance of our teachers and our sadhana, our spiritual practice.
I think you make a really important point about mental health, because recently when the Olympics and earlier in the year as well, Naomi Osaka and the gymnast, you know, Simone, I can't quite pronounce her last name, but they stepped away from elite competitive sport despite being so fit, physically fit, and at the top of their game because of mental health. How do you view this? You know, the fact that, you know, human endurance and performance is, of course, increasing and it's getting really competitive, but somehow mentally we're becoming much more fragile.
Exactly. You know, it's very interesting because India is the source of so much wisdom, not only in yoga, in Ayurveda, in Jyotisha, in these sciences that all come together for our well-being. And the thing is that when they go to the West, they get watered down. And in the West, there's a lot of asana. That's what I would say, you know, about how yoginis, you know, in their yoga clothes and in their brands. And it has become like somehow watered down. But the good news is that yoga is for everyone. Yoga is for everyone that wants to have a deeper knowledge of who they are, of who we are deeply, because these bodies, like the Gita says, you know, they're eventually going to like dissolve in the dust. But there's something in each one of us that actually grows with spiritual practice. So like these gymnasts, you know, they realize that there's like an image about what yoga is or what gymnastics is, but it's way deeper than that. At least yoga is it's a path of knowledge, self-knowledge. And of course, we do our asana practice every day so we can stay calm. For me, at least, that's the way it is. So I can just be like kind to myself and to other human beings, because there's so much uncertainty right now. Well, we're here in India, you know, and what's happening in Afghanistan, what is happening in China, what's happening in Pakistan. We're all like, okay, expecting what is going to happen, and the COVID and and the people we have lost in this last year and a half, and our own lifestyles also that have changed and transformed. So finding a refuge every day to breathe, that's what it is about, to find a relationship with breath, and breath with a capital B, the breath of God, the breath of love, whatever is keeping this body alive. That's a relationship that I call yoga. And in my lineage, we need the guru. We're not going to go very far away without a teacher, because it's so intense and so demanding that the mind gives up. There's a part in us that is lazy, that is, like wants things comfort, and wants the the cookie, and the comfort food, and and the jalebi, and weird, like my husband is a foodie, so he loves this thing. It's hard, just to stay in your discipline. But yoga is a discipline of freedom. It's kind of like a contradiction in itself. If you build up your practice day by day for many years, it actually shields you from all that anxiety.
Yes.
And you are in this oasis of Shanti. Shanti inside of you all the time. It comes and goes, and sometimes, it's hard to find it. And I think, speaking for many of us in these last 2 years, oh my God, the world has really transformed. But just knowing that space is there for you, and it doesn't judge you at all. It's a space that always welcomes you, just as you are. Sometimes we're sad, sometimes we're angry, sometimes we're sick. Sometimes we feel lonely, and our yoga practice, our yoga mat is our haven, our safe haven.
How many hours a day do you practice personally?
I practice like for 2 hours every day, very early in the morning, first thing in the morning, because my practice is very demanding in the asana, and that's how intense my mind is. I have to do a really hard asana practice so my mind calms down. I've always been hyperactive in my mind, and I'm thinking too much. So my intense yoga practice helps me come to this equanimity, where I'm less reactive, and I'm less worried. I'm a little bit more optimistic, like this. The Positivity Project. I love the name.
Yes.
We all need to be more positive and engage with positive people, and find optimism even in the middle of transformation, which is it's not easy. We need something to ground us and to hold us. That's your yoga practice.
When you speak of yoga as transformation, what has been your personal journey of transformation, and what have you observed also in students and people you've interacted with? What kind of transformations have you seen?
Well, there's a beautiful yoga book. It's called the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, and Patanjali is a sage, and it was written 2,000 years ago, and he was the first one to document the science of yoga, because it's always been transmitted orally between Guru and Shishya. So the first thing he says is now, the discipline of yoga. And I think that word is very important. It's like this book by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. It's our mind is constantly jumping toward the future. What is going to happen? Where am I going to live? What am I going to do? Or just going back into the past and remembering sometimes good stuff, sometimes really painful things. And we are, like in between, and we never arrive. And arriving into our body is like our home in this lifetime. It's like this vehicle, this temple. And once we start our practice, we start understanding that this body is safe, and that we can take care of the body, and that we can eat the right food, and sleep before 10, and maybe not do Netflix every night until 3 in the morning. Well, maybe once a week, but establish a routine that is good for the body.
Yeah.
And for example, Ayurveda is so wonderful. It's so amazing, such a beautiful. I have a doctor in Mysore, and I have a doctor here also where I live. And the oiling, the Abhyanga. The Abhyanga is so good to calm the mind, to soften, the edge. Just oiling yourself every day, like eating good food, fresh food, a home cooked food. It's like it's such a basic thing, but sometimes we forget and we start eating, junk, and then we feel really like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? And it's because we don't put the right fuel in the body. And also that fuel, what about relationships? Because no matter how advanced your asana practice is, if you are in a bad marriage, you're in trouble. So the practice is going to give us the strength and the discernment so we can choose wisely, because life is about choices. Imagine how my life would have been if I had not chosen India. Oh my God, I would have missed so much. And now, that I live here, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to India for embracing me and my guru and all of you. I mean, it's such miraculous transformation that happens when you say, okay, this is good for me and this is not good for me. I'm going to choose again. And the good news is that we can choose every day again, even if we are
I love that.
Yeah, in a place that maybe it's not like nurturing our heart. We can say, I need to close this cycle and I need to open a new one. And yoga is the best partner. Yoga is
I love what you said about choosing to begin every day, because what happens is often you can get on to, say yoga or a certain way of eating, and you do good for a bit and then you fall off the wagon. So you beat yourself up, and you feel
exactly.
yourself, and you're not kind to yourself when that happens. So I love just, you begin another day.
You begin again and judge ourselves less. It's like there's so much judgment now with these Instagram posts and everything. There's so many images about yoga, and sometimes we think we need to look like the images, and that's like a mirage. Yoga is so personal, and yoga adapts to our lifestyle, to our schedule, to our bodies. My teacher says everyone can practice. Young people can practice, old people can practice, sick people can practice, healthy people can practice. The only ones that cannot practice are the lazy ones. That's what he says.
I'm feeling very guilty during this session. I feel
like, he's going to open the school soon in Mysore. You should go, because when you are in the company of those who are doing the same, it's easier. It's hard on our own. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to wake up early every day and, the husband bringing the key and saying no. It's hard. But when you're surrounded by people that are in your same frequency, oh my God, it gets much easier. At least that's my experience.
And, sleeping early, watching what you eat, for a lot of people, these things like, unwinding with Netflix or eating what you want, but food is the word for it. We've been sort of socialized to believe that that's how we reward ourselves. Right?
Especially here in India, with the safety. Yeah, I know that from my husband.
Wake up with that way of thinking, and do these tough asanas and eat healthy and feel like I'm being good to myself. How do you make that switch?
Yeah, it's about loving yourself. If you have a really cool car, imagine you have a Jaguar. You're not gonna put the worst fuel in the Jaguar. You have a Bentley, you're going to use the best fuel, and you're going to take care of the car, because sometimes we need to accelerate. And when I mean accelerate, is sometimes crisis comes to our lives, tragedy comes, and we lose people we love, and change comes that we cannot control. And that's when the practice pays back, because you find yourself, you are in a different place inside. You're not so reactive, you're not so resistant to change. And change is the only constant in life.
Right.
And actually, I think embracing change is one of the gifts of practice, because we're all changing, we are all evolving, and hopefully we are evolving towards a healthier perspective of who we are. Sometimes, as you say, the perspective is so clouded by other people's input, or by tradition, or by habits, or by magazines, or by Instagram, or and then you are, and who am I? Who am I really? And how can I take care of myself? Because that's our first responsibility, to take care of ourselves, to take care of this temple, this vehicle. That's the practice, the sacred practice of yoga.
Can you tell us a little bit about Ashtanga yoga? Because from what I have heard is that it is intense and it's very difficult. Like, it's not easy for everyday people to get into it.
That's the bad reputation of Ashtanga. Well, I think Ashtanga is a beautiful practice if it's taught well. And our teacher has really emphasized for all these years with him that the practice, everybody can practice, but the teacher should inspire you to come to practice. And how do they inspire you? By their own example. So if you find a teacher, that he's on his phone while he's teaching, and he's eating junk food, and he's gossiping, and like, you're gonna say, is this really real? Like, I don't think. But you find someone that just by their presence, they say, you know what, this person, they shine, they glow. I mean, what are they doing? What are they eating? Is it Botox? What is it? No, it's yoga. It's just like, it's yoga is the beauty of daily practice and the commitment to yourself, because it's not a commitment to an external teacher. The teacher is there to hold space so you can go within in a safe way. And we teach, as Ashtanga teachers that are authorized or certified by my teacher, we teach very slowly. So for example, if you come to my class, I will teach you Surya Namaskar first day, and that's it. I'm not going to teach you the whole series, because there's 6 series in Ashtanga. I'm not going to do that. I'll just take you slowly. And it's kind of waking up the body with a lot of kindness and a lot of patience. It's not about punishment. It's not about you're doing it wrong. No. It's you're doing it right because you're coming to class. That's perfect and that's beautiful. If you really feel like the call, then they say that the teacher appears. When you understand that you need to make a change in your life, that you're going like, you're not going in the right direction. And that's the beauty of it. Once you make that decision with yourself, then the teacher shows up.
And you hold in-person classes in Delhi? Is that where you hold your classes?
Well, right now I'm not teaching in person because of all this crazy thing. I'm a little bit like reluctant. And even my guru, the school is also closed. So we have reinvented ourselves online. This Zoom has really become an interesting tool. So I hold courses with my students all over the world. It's very beautiful, in Spanish mostly, and also in English. And it's been a very great realization for me that I can also teach online. I thought I could not, but this crisis has put us all, including my colleagues, and even my teacher, my guru. He teaches like once a month online, and we are so happy to see him, and we are so grateful just to be together. And we all have to change and adapt, and that's the way yoga is going now in the world. Like many shalas have closed, but we still have this wonderful Zoom, thank God.
You can share the name of your classes if you like, for anyone who's watching, who's interested.
Yeah, you can go into my Instagram, Mariela Cruz Yoga. I post there all my life, because as a yoga teacher, there's no separation between your personal life and your yoga life. It's the same. So you can read about my own journey there, and you can also I have a blog in Spanish that I share, and I also have podcasts with different of my colleagues. I think I send them to you.
Yes.
Great conversation to see what has happened to our yoga practice during this pandemic, because definitely the world changed, and we cannot expect things to be the same as before 2020. Wow, it was a big like, okay, let's start over, and thank God for you.
Yes, it's a reset in many ways, you know, and
It's a reason, yeah.
I think the journey inwards is something that a lot of people
Mhm.
embarking on during this time. So I think in that sense, it's been a good time. You know, Mariela, what is your day like? Just, you know, you start with
You got frozen, my darling. Okay, I'm gonna answer that question. Yeah. So my day starts the night before. So I go to bed before 10, and then I wake up early, and then I warm up some water and put some lemon in it and some apple cider vinegar. And that's what I drink while I'm meditating. And then I start my yoga practice, my Ashtanga, which is a series of postures that are around like 2 hours total. That's how it. And then I have breakfast with my husband, and then he starts working, and I go to my gym because I do my yoga practice, but then I go to my gym because I do some weight training as well. Then we come home and have lunch, and then in the afternoon I study, I prepare my classes, and in the evening I teach. And then again, go to bed early, and it's very beautiful. There's like a beauty in the repetition. Once a week, I have a rest day, so that day I don't have to wake up early. And that day is also really beautiful. It's usually a day of silence, which is Saturday for Shani Dev. And that day, like today, I am in silence, and I journal, or I write in my blog, or um, I participate in different events. And that's how it's been for the past almost 20 years. And despite all the losses that life brings, I'm happy to say that because of the grace of my guru, of Sharaji, I am in one piece, and I actually feel I feel better than I used to feel when I lived in Costa Rica. In Costa Rica, I felt I needed to answer to too many expectations around me. And here in India, I feel so free. India has given me freedom in myself, in my mind, in my heart. Has also given me a beautiful new family, a husband. Uh, it's so many blessings, and to live in the same land as my guru, for me, it has it's basically a miracle. Um, my dream is that my ashes are gonna end up in the Ganga. That's my dream, and I've told my husband several times. So yeah, that's the routine of a yogini. It's a simple life, and we aspire to spend our energy in high thinking, in projects like this beautiful positivity project. Oh my God, it's so wonderful that you're doing this to encourage everybody out there to practice, to meditate, to go within, because actually the world is too crazy. And if we have a space inside that we know is there always for us, we're gonna, we're gonna live fruitful lives.
I'm so glad I'm with you on this program because my internet just kicked me out and I got back in. But if it had been any other guest, I would have had a mini meltdown and freak out. But for you for the last half an hour, I feel so much calmer about experience. So I think it's infectious.
I'm happy. Yeah, I remember once I was in Nicaragua and I was doing an interview with a friend, and at the end of the interview, she says, I'm speaking slower after being with you for an hour. I always speak like very, very fast. And now I'm like,
Right. No, it seriously, it's so calming to be even around you. That, it didn't seem like a big deal. I was like, oh, back on. So
yeah, it's no problem. I think the secret is in the breathing, because when we cultivate our breath every morning, then the body learns to breathe like that for the rest of the day. And we have a different way of moving around and interacting and even listening to each other, you know, like usually when we are with someone, we are like, and even if we shut up, we're still like,
Yeah.
but actually listening to someone, like your questions were so good. Really, I appreciate because there's a sensitivity. And it's not easy, you know, for someone to understand the yoga path. Yoga is for those who want to find freedom.
Right.
And it could be freedom from, like you say, from bad habits. It could be freedom from lousy relationships, but ultimately it's about freedom from everything that we are not. The realization of our full reality inside, like Ramana Maharshi said, who are we? You know, who are you ultimately? If this body dies, are you still there? And that daily connection to that self with a capital S is glorious. It's everything we want. But we're so distracted.
Mariela, you know, we also have patterns in our lives. They could be behavior or thinking. And when you think of transformation and yoga, you know, taking you through that transformation, I think a big part of it would be breaking these patterns that we have, that we may even that these are bad patterns. It could be in a relationship, it could be with habits. Or how do you do that? You know, how do you break out of these?
Like my Guruji says, you take practice. Then Shanti is coming, no problem. You take practice, because every day it's like a carpenter, you know, every day you're like breaking those patterns, because the pattern says, oh, I don't want to wake up. Oh, my body's paining. Oh, I want to eat that cake. Oh, you know.
Yes.
And then you have to go against the grain. You have to wake up and you know, the postures hurt. Postures really hurt because they're intense, or sometimes the body is going through a phase. And as women, you know, for us also, you know, we go through so many changes, like menstruation, pregnancies, menopause, and we need to learn to love ourselves as we are, and stop judging us. And in yoga, you know, if you take it as a spiritual path, it's so beautiful. It really nurtures your body, your mind, your heart, and gives us clarity in our thought process. It's about the thought process. It's about not engaging in voices that sabotage your own life, you know, because we all make mistakes. But the question is, do we learn from our mistakes? Do we reflect on them and say, oh, okay, I understand, you don't go there anymore? Or do we keep punishing ourselves and repeating unceasingly and suffering? You know, suffering. It's like yoga is deliverance from sorrow. So everyone can do it.
This week there was the Emmy Awards, and there was this actress who won one of the Best Actress Awards. I think it was in the drama series or something, Michaela. And she had a beautiful quote. I don't know if you read it, but it was so profound. And she says, you know, we live in, and I'm paraphrasing her, she said, we live in a time of this media, Instagram, all of that, where being visible means being successful. And what we're constantly doing is trying to be visible. So she said that, you know, go invisible for some time and see where the silence takes you or what it says to you.
Yeah.
I think it reminds me of yoga and a lot of what you're saying to me now as well.
Yeah, and any tool can be used with awareness or without it, you know. So Instagram can be used with awareness, and also yoga practice can be used to like create a spiritual ego, and I'm the best of everyone, you know, and I'm visible in the wrong way. Or yoga can be a way of inspiring others to you know, start this journey. It's a journey. What I can tell you in my own life is a journey that I had no idea where I was going. Imagine I was born in a tropical country in the other side of that. I had no idea about India. And once it starts and then you start walking, then the path starts opening, you know, below your feet. And it's a lot of trusting that your desire for truth and your desire for well-being, it's going to take you to someone that is going to help you. That's what happened to me. I have no words for my guru. I mean, I thank Sharaji so much because it's because of him and his inspiration and his dharma, and I'm wishing him like happy birthday right now because I'm so touched. You know, even though I'm in the north part of India, he's in the south. I do feel he's giving so much to all of us and to the world through his teaching. So yeah, if you find a teacher, you won the lottery. That's what I can tell you.
I'm blown away. I mean, you've traveled not even halfway, more than halfway across the world to find this purpose for your own life. And I think that's very brave, and that's also very, and just I mean, it's your authentic self. I think that's incredible. Anyone who's able to find that in this lifetime is successful and has achieved something. So that I wanted to say that to you. But you know, we have only about 10 minutes left, 9 now. Decided that maybe you'll take us through a few breathing exercises.
Okay, wonderful. Well, before that, I would really like to honor my guru and chant the invocation that we sing before practice every morning. And it's in Sanskrit, so I will explain it to anyone that is not Indian. I'm sure the Indians understand what I'm saying better than myself, but the invocation speaks about bowing to the feet of the Guru. And the feet of the Guru, it's a symbol of saying, you know, I don't know and I need help. Please help me find the truth. Help me find true happiness in this world, because this world, there's so much illusion and there's so many lies and so much darkness. And we also thank all the yogis here in India who have practiced before of us. This is a parampara. So this is like a lineage that has been transmitted since 3,000 years from the Himalayas, from the rishis, and we thank them for bringing into the world these teachings and this knowledge. We are blessed to receive them, and we honor them, and we really make a commitment to respect them and to teach them as we have been taught. Okay, so I'm gonna sing the invocation. Please close your eyes. Om Vande Gurunam Charanavinde Samdarshita Swatma Sukhavabodhi Nishreyase Jangalikaya Mane Samsara Hala Halamoha Shantye Abahu Purushakram Shanga Chakrasi Dharinam Sahasrashirsam Shwetam Manamami Patam Chali. And right there where you are, just keep your eyes closed, relax your body, and feel the breath. Feel how the air comes into your nose, into your nostrils, goes into your lungs, expanding the lungs. And as you exhale, soften, relax. Inhale again and feel the energy, the prana, the life force coming into each and every cell of your body. And as you exhale, surrender to the love, to the energy that is keeping us alive. With one more big breath. And slowly open the eyes. So this is something that I use in my own life when something really takes me out of whack, like what happened at, your internet crash, and I just take a deep breath. And then the mind, resets, like you said. And they say, okay, keep calm. She's going to be back. Everything's going to be fine. Instead of like, ah! And so I try to use it in my own life when something happens that was not like in my plan, every day something happens that takes you out of that comfort zone. And just take 3 deep breaths. And once you start your Ashtanga practice and you get used to that breath and you get used to that company of the prana, at least for myself, life gets easier. Maybe it doesn't get easier on the outside, but inside of you find the shanti.
Yeah. And I mean, you were a diplomat. That's something that requires careful interaction with people. And live in a world where sometimes you may have an unpleasant interaction, or something may go wrong, or you are misjudged, or feel like you couldn't express yourself adequately. with that, to kind of be your authentic self through different interactions.
Yeah, because in my group of ambassadors, I was, there were like 20 ambassadors and there were only 3 women. So women, we have always been like, and it's hard, just to speak in front of these men that are judging you and saying, why are you the ambassador? And I would just breathe and say, Shanti, Shanti. Whatever you think of me is your problem. Shanti, Shanti. And that really helps.
Well, it's been so lovely chatting with you. And
same here. I hope we can meet sometimes for a coffee.
Yes, absolutely. I might meet you online before that because I'm so inspired. So I'm going to go check out your page and get from it. And I'd encourage other people who are watching. This is such a wonderful time in that sense to start a new practice, to rediscover yourself, and to take that journey with you. So I really want to thank the project, the Positivity Project, for putting us together. Wonderful interaction, which will, I'm sure, inspire a lot of people. It certainly inspired me. And
thank you.
I intend to keep in touch with you, and it's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you, Rejuvenate, and of course the organizer, Sangeeta Singh. And on to the next, I guess, inspiring session.
Thank you all. Thank you, Sangeeta. Thank you. Wonderful, beautiful time together. Thank you.